Welcome to We Talk About It. I'm your host, Shanette Williams, joined by my beautiful co host.
Tone Randall.
Kari Alawumi.
This is more than a podcast. This is a platform where real voices are heard, real experiences are shared, and real issues are addressed openly and unapologetically. We're streaming on all major platforms, and to every listener supporting this movement, we thank you. Let's get into it on We Talk About It. And we are so excited for this episode. To this evening, the dialogue will focus on a critical questions or some open experiences. The conversation is not just about perspective. This is about impact. This is about understanding. And this is about accountability. There are voices, especially among men, that have remained silent or disconnected from the issues. And this evening on We Talk About It, that changes. This is a call to action. This is also a space for honesty, a space for respect, and a space where truth can be spoken freely. And this evening's conversation, we're talking about the experiences that y'all have had with the abortion ban and how it has impacted your lives. And our special guest, Hope Gumezi, Aaron Boslin, and Derek Cook. And fellas, I again am so excited to have you on. This means the world to us. Suki or Taria, if you have anything at this time, go ahead. But other than that, I'm just excited to hear from our men.
The only thing I have to say is thank you all for being here. We would like for you to be open, vulnerable, and just tell us your experience, tell the world your experience, and how this ban has impacted your lives.
Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day. This conversation is something that needs to be heard in every community, in every setting, to help men be able to uplift their voices. And I think this group that we have on tonight is going to do just that.
Yes. Without further ado, we're going to start with Mr. Hope Gumezi. Feel free to just open up and share whatever it is that you'd like to share with us and the world.
Okay, so my name is Hope Gamazi. I am from Houston, Texas. Um, I'm the husband of Portia Gamazi, who was affected by the abortion ban, affected in the way where Portia lost her life due to this ban. So yes, I'm here speaking out. Whatever platform I can that's available to me, I'm going to take and I'm going to speak out and try to fight for some justice for Portia.
Okay, Aaron.
Good to be with everyone, and thanks for having me on, Mrs. Williams. My name is Aaron Boslin. I'm the Executive Director of Men for Choice, where we activate, educate, and mobilize passively pro-choice men to get off the sidelines and into the fight as allies for reproductive freedom. And I'll say more throughout the night about why that's true for me, but at the most basic level, I remember getting an email at the end of 2019 saying this organization, Men for Choice, was expanding, and the name Men for Choice kind of grabbed me. And, we all get lots of emails, and most of us don't read most of those emails. I never read emails from that particular group. But it grabbed me because I realized in that moment, I thought about my own life, and I thought about how close I was with my grandma, and I thought about the views I have and the reasons I believe what I believe, that everyone should basically be able to live their life without the foot of the government on their neck. And I realized I don't remember a time when I've said a word about this issue, and why is that? So that became my starting point, and then I've had the chance to do all sorts of things in the last 6 years that I'm looking forward to discussing tonight.
Amen. Thank you, Aaron. And Derek.
Thank you guys for having me. My name is Derek Cook. I'm the husband of Anya Cook, and I'm also advocate with Men for Choice, one of the best groups. They're very supportive. But I kind of want to jump to the question, same as with Hope. How this affected me as well.
Right.
How it affected men that I know, like Hope, and even Aaron. He may not experience what me and Hope has experienced, but the fact that he's stepping in as a leader and organizing things to help get other men across the world, not only just in the United States, but I have heard my name being mentioned over in Paris with my wife's name as well with the Clintons and stuff. This is a real big issue.
Right.
It's not nothing that should go unnoticed. Like,
absolutely.
If we can get all men to pay attention to see what's going on,
that's
help fight that, I think we can make a real big progress forward.
Okay, thank you so much, fellas. I again applaud you and thank you so much for giving us your brief introduction. Now, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the conversation. And the one big question everybody wants to know from your personal experience: how have abortion bans directly affected your life or someone close to you?
Okay. So for me, uh, June 12th, 2023, my wife Portia passed away due to the abortion ban. Um, and it's, I just basically, if I had to say how has it affected me, well, I lost my wife. She's not here. She passed away due to politics.
Yeah.
Um, and it really
Mm.
put everything upside down in my world. You're trying to figure out what happened, how it happened, who did what,
Yeah.
did I do something wrong, this and this. Um, I mean, for me, that's what I went through. I wasn't even aware that the abortion ban was a factor. It took me some months. I didn't know. I didn't connect that dot. I was literally
Mhm.
thinking it was my fault, honestly. Because, I
Wow.
knew that the hospital had a role to play, but of course I felt like I didn't check them. I didn't research something, I didn't do my part. But then later on, I found out that the abortion ban did everything. It was the main factor, of why Portia didn't get
Yeah.
the proper care that she needs, you know. So for me, it affected my life because I lost my best friend. I lost my wife, my everything. I was with her for 16 years. Um, so yeah, it has played a tremendous role in my life, and it has really disrupted, not yeah, disrupted everything. My kids lost their mom. Her family lost a daughter, sister, cousin. So it has played a detrimental role in my life. Yeah, it's really um, it just did a lot of damage. So
Hope, can I ask a question? Which state are you in? And because you said the ban, so I just want to know to let the audience know if it was a
okay,
total ban state or if what was, so I can give context of what the abortion ban affected which state.
Yeah.
yeah, so I live in Texas. So it
Oh,
is it is active in Texas. I don't know the year that it passed, but um,
Right.
for 2023, we were expecting a baby girl. So to go
yeah.
through losing a baby, but then also losing your wife all at the same night,
Hmm.
it's just
Yeah.
I don't have the words to describe it, but it's like a terrible
Yes.
feeling. And then
Yes.
finding out politics was the one,
Yes.
this was the one that played the factor why
Hmm.
my wife wasn't here. Oh, it's not here.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And just to give some of our listeners context, Texas is a total ban.
total
It has the
babies.
harshest restrictions
Yes.
against abortion
hmm
access. For no reason you can get an abortion in Texas. So just letting folks know. But I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For the life of me, I just don't understand. I just can't plug it in. I'm trying to understand how we got here.
It's
Mm.
hard to
I'm
comprehend.
still right there.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
so
Exactly.
because because for me it was like I'm going into the hospital, cheerleading for my child and the doctors. I had faith in them, and I just knew that they were doing everything possible
mhm.
to take care of my baby.
Mhm.
That's
I
what I
was
felt too.
I was telling Yeah, and I was totally I had no clue because if you listen to me, I always say that I had no investment in politics whatsoever. So if anything was going on, I wouldn't have known because I just feel like there's not one person that's on this earth that can get everything done when they say they're going to do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I had no investment. To me, I already feel like if you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to get that done," you're already lying. Just
Hmm.
say, "I may not be able to get everything done, but I'm going to work hard at this." So right
hmm
off the gate, for me, I always say you're lying because there's not one person that can do everything in 24 hours, and
Hmm.
give them 4 years to get stuff changed. One president go, everybody is doing something different. So you're trying to reconstruct what the last person did, and that's been this whole thing. But for the life of me, Hope, I'm with you.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Okay, well, we're going to go on to the next guest, and we'll go ahead and let you go, Aaron, and tell us how this has impacted you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing, Hope and Derek. I'm looking forward to hearing
Yes,
from
absolutely.
you in a minute. You know, my angle of approaching this is different, and it's
Yeah.
different because I'm a gay man, and I think sometimes people hear that and they automatically get why I'm an advocate for abortion rights, and sometimes people hear it and they pause, and there's always a very polite pause, and they kind of go, but why would you possibly care? This
Right.
isn't going to affect you.
Right.
And I get that. And I get that.
Right.
But, you know, I was listening to what Hope said about how in 2023 he felt so alone. And it really brings me back to a memory in 7th grade, which was the first time that it was 2001. And I remember in that moment, as a 7th grader, think about sitting in English class in 7th grade and all the feelings there, feeling attracted to another boy. And I'd never met a gay person in my life. I'd never seen a gay person on TV. And the only thing I remember feeling in the moment was sick. Like I felt like there was something diseased within me. And I thought to myself, you know, this is going to put me in the wrong place in my family. This is going to put me in the wrong place with God. This is going to put me in the wrong place in my future. No one can ever know about this. And a couple years later, I was a high school student, and the President of the United States got reelected on a platform where he said gay marriage should be banned throughout the United States. And the majority of Americans agreed with him. And in 2004, 2005, 2006, by 2008, 31 states in the country had banned gay marriage at the state level. And at that point, it just felt like this was a distant, you know, maybe this will happen in the future. I used to say to people, I think I'm going to see gay marriage in my lifetime. And people would be like, whoa, in your lifetime? Really? Like, it was sort of unthinkable. And you know, fast forward, and we're in 2026, and I'm a married gay man with a ring on my finger. And when I think about what changed from that moment in 7th grade in 2001 to where we are now, it wasn't the gay people who changed their minds, it was everyone else. And it was especially a lot of women who chose to step up. And it was everyone else who said, you know what, like maybe everyone should have a shot at a decent life. Maybe everyone who wants to create a family should have the chance to create a family.
Right.
And when I first started thinking about the state of abortion rights in America, and I'm a former history teacher, and so I think a lot about the tides of where things are going. And in 2019, when I started to realize more and more about the level of attacks that were happening on abortion rights at the state level, I felt a little bit like I did 15, 20 years earlier, where I said, you know, this is a small group of powerful men in government telling people what to do with their bodies. And by the way, it's the same men who were trying to ban gay marriage back then. And so I think about what Hope was saying in 2023 of feeling so alone, or Mrs. Williams, you know, with your daughter Amber, or Derek I met right after what happened to Anya and to him. And my experience is one where 20 years ago I vowed no one would ever know the secret about me because it could ruin my life. And 20 years later, because other people stood up for me, I'm able to have this ring on my finger. And by the way, I'm not guaranteed I'm going to have that right forever. And so I see this as any time people in government are trying to take away the basic ability for people to make decisions about their families, about their bodies, about what's right for them, I think we all have a duty to stand up for each other then. And I feel that because other people have done that for me, which is why I'm able to have this ring on my finger.
And Aaron, I still have the question, how did we get here? Because it was being chipped at. Who didn't take it serious? Who did not take it serious?
It was always a conversation back in the back. You would hear whispers, they're going to overturn Roe. Oh, it's going to be up, and then it'll go quiet again, and then it'll come up and be prevalent again. And then bam, you know, it was the leak, and it was, oh, it's real. And now people were scrambling of what to do. But I think what happened was when it went to the southern states and it swept the southern states of total ban, 6-week ban, heartbeat ban, 13 weeks, 12 weeks, Florida, 24 weeks, back to 12 weeks, 15 weeks. It was all over the place. But we were not
Paying attention.
we were paying attention, I think, but we just didn't think like Roe would never fall. Like, okay, this has been since 1970, what, 3 or 7? Yeah, 73. I'm not gonna tell my age, but yeah, 73. And I wasn't even the gleam in my dad's eye yet, but it was there because they fought for it. And then when they were talking about it to be overturned, it was like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Women fought too hard to let this be in place, and it happened.
But so before we move forward to Derek, that is my question. That's my problem. We just didn't think, and because we didn't think, I'm here. Hope is there in this. We're all here in this space. I'm grieving a daughter. Hope is grieving a wife. Derek, you know, you had your experience. Taria, you're grieving your sister because we didn't think. We didn't have a plan.
Can I just ask for context? Aaron, what state were you in during this time?
I'm originally from Central Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay. And so when you said that in 2001, you know, you wanted to remain anonymous of who you are and the feelings that you felt, you know, there's a lot of people who want to remain anonymous when it comes to abortion and the impact that it has. And, you know, it forces us to come out of our shells and forces us to come out of hiding so that we can be vocal about what we've gone through so it doesn't happen to anyone else. And so when you look at the panel that we have today, we all come from different walks of life. We have gay men, we have straight men, we have fathers, you know, and so when you're looking at this panel is just an example of why this message is so important, because it doesn't affect just one person or one type of person. It affects all of us, whether you are a Christian, whether you're not a Christian, whether you believe or you don't believe. At the end of the day, when these traumas come, they affect everyone, no
Yes.
matter what you believe. And so I just kind of wanted to put that out before we go on to Derek.
And now, Derek?
First, I would like to say, man, Hope, man, brother, I pray for you a lot, yo. I
Thanks,
thought
bro.
about you this morning. I thought about you this morning. I was coming from my best friend's house um, last night. Spent some time up down West Palm Beach with him. I don't really visit him as often, but like I should, you know. Life is too short not to, you know, be around the people that you love.
Yeah.
But as far as like grieving, you know, I grieve my daughter a lot because after my wife had the miscarriage in the bathroom, I actually helped,
Mm.
and I, I I saw her face, her hands, her legs, and whenever I look at my daughter now, um, the baby that we have now, it's almost like looking at that baby because they look just alike, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like every once in a while I have these moments, and it's like, especially when I'm working, I have a moment that just hit me so hard, I break down, and I have to remember I got to snap back in, I got to finish work, and I got to get back home, you know. So I've been through like therapy. It used to be like twice a week. It got to a point where it was a little too much working and then doing therapy and then asking these questions. And my wife going back and forth in therapy sessions trying to figure out if I'm being a good man or if I'm doing the right thing because it been a big factor on it. And I can only imagine what you're going through. Hope you don't. I don't know if you're going through therapy or anything, but the fact that you lost your wife and you got to like sit in that car right now by yourself and you're not going home to her, bro, that's heavy. That's very heavy. And the fact that, you know, your kids, they don't have their mom anymore,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Hmm.
That is a
Yeah.
lot. And I hate that that happened to you. I'm glad I met you. And the fact that we're having this podcast, and
Hmm.
even with Aaron, man, like when I first met Aaron, me and my wife did a press conference down in Miami. Man, I was lost. I was lost. I don't know. I didn't have any words to say at the press conference. I was just standing there with my wife being her supportive system on the side. And I was just admiring my wife as she was speaking, uh, uh, advocating for herself and every other woman around America. And at that moment, I was still lost, you know. And then when Aaron came and started talking to me about joining Man for Choice, and I gradually came out and started talking. I always had a fear about talking in crowds,
Hmm.
and I usually bust out into a big sweat or I
Yeah.
pause and don't know what to say. But since, you know, joining Man for Choice, going on these different platforms, talking with people about a real issue that's happening to me,
Exactly.
happening to you,
Yeah.
throughout America, I'm not scared to talk about it no more. I don't care who's around. Really.
Right.
Anybody can be around that want to talk about it, that don't want to talk about it, or they don't know anything about it. You know, I enlighten them about the situation. You know, I got every job that I go to, I tell them who I am. You know, and people, well, why are you working? I'm not a millionaire. I'm just a person that
Right.
advocate, and
Yeah.
I'm speaking
Hmm.
real facts. This is real life situation. Like I'm a regular human being. I check my mailbox just like everybody else do.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Right.
so
David, I'm sorry to cut you off, but can you tell us what year this happened and how far along your wife was when she had the miscarriage of your daughter?
it happened in 2022. She was 16 weeks. Before that baby came, that baby was number 16. We had 16 miscarriages. Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah, back to back, back to back. The first miscarriage that we had, that broke me. I had to drive my wife back home, and she was crying. She was like saying, "I'm sorry, baby," you know, while she was having the miscarriage and stuff. And then this baby came. We made it up to 16 weeks. We didn't tell anybody within the 12 weeks because we had so many miscarriages. We was afraid to tell anybody. And it was like somebody saying something bad, you know, about us, and we keep having these miscarriages. So we're just gonna keep it to ourselves. And then when we got up to 16 weeks, we was like, you know what, we're gonna tell my grandparents because, you know, my grandmother is a pastor and my granddad was a deacon.
Right.
And they're very spiritual people. And if we tell them, you know, what kind of harm can we get back? So we told them, and later on that night, we went to, I'm going to name the restaurant. It was TGI Fridays. And I was very cautious when I went in there. And I just had like I had a crazy feeling, but I didn't know what I was feeling. Yeah, I had a gut feeling, but I didn't know what it was. I don't know if it was because I was trying to protect my wife, making sure she wouldn't bump into a counter or step down wrong when we go inside the restaurant or whatever. But, you know, after we ate our food and stuff, and you didn't really eat as much, but she was starting to feel bad. And then we left the restaurant, and that's when everything took off. Where she lost her water right in the parking lot, like right before we stepped into the truck. And she thought I actually threw water on her playing games with her, but I didn't. And that's when we found out it was amniotic fluid leaking. And we was about to go home thinking that it might not really be as what we think it is.
Right.
But we went to the hospital, and we was trying to get support, and they turned us down. And
Tell them what state you were in, Derek, also, so they can get context of the abortion ban. Let them know that you were in what state?
Florida.
Hmm.
Yep, my home state.
Okay, go
Lay us
ahead.
down.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went to the hospital. They turned us down, and we ended up driving home. And my wife had a hair appointment the next day. She never like be late for her hair appointments or her nails. And she was like, you know what? I still need to get my hair done. And just in case something happened to me, I don't want my mom to have to bury me, because she had a friend that happened to her mom uh, had to do her hair. So my wife didn't. She didn't want to go through that. But a lot of times, my wife speaks something and it actually happens. And that day she was speaking that, and I was like, look, you can't talk like that, because I know whenever you talk like that, stuff always happens. It's like she know, you know.
Yeah.
So the next day she went, got her hair done. I dropped off. I always sit in the parking lot, but I went and got some food, some breakfast, came back, sit down in the parking lot. She called me in and said she's here. So I walked in. The beautician and the lady that was actually a nurse getting her hair done as well, she pointed to the bathroom. My wife was in the bathroom. And when I went in, she asked me if the baby was there. And I saw the baby. And I tried to separate the baby from my wife, thinking that this is what you're supposed to do, as I've been saying this on TV, and this is what men do, when the baby come out. And she was bleeding, and the nurse got up and came and tried to stop the blood. We ended up calling the ambulance. They came. We wanted to go back to the hospital that we wanted to go to, because that's where we was from, Coral Springs. We trusted the hospital, and one of the drivers, the ambulance, said that the EMT said that no, if you go up to the hospital, you're gonna die. And I said, you know what? Okay. So we end up going to Hollywood Memorial Regional, the one right there in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's where I
Love
came
that
from.
hospital. Yeah, I love that hospital. They treated they the fact that they saved my wife's life,
Yeah.
and they actually got a team, and I feel like God played a part in it so many times. He made my wife go get her hair done. He made us not go to the Coral Springs Hospital. He made us go to Hollywood Hospital. He had a team of doctors throughout the whole state of Florida. That was the only hospital that could have saved my wife, because she was going through PPROM.
She had lost so much blood,
She
yes.
lost so much blood. She lost half the
Premature
blood in her
rupture
body.
of membranes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that was the only hospital in the state of Florida that had a team of doctors that could save my wife's life.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions were well, I had a few questions asked. The first one that would never leave my mind was the security officer there. After the doctor came out, he asked me, what do I want to do? Save my wife's life or save my wife's uterus? And at that moment, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
I said, I'm thinking about my wife. What my wife want to do is have a baby.
Right.
That's what I hear in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, save both. Because it's easy to take a woman's uterus out and call it a day, and she can't have kids.
Yes.
But if you try hard enough, you can save her uterus and save her life.
Mm-hmm.
Put those doctor skills to test and let God do what he do. So after the doctor went to the back, it was supposed to be like a regular DNC where they clean out the uterus or whatever, right? It ended up turning into like an 8-hour surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So right in the midst of that, a security officer was out there. I started panicking, because the doctor said, "Say, this is a life or death situation."
Mm-hmm.
And only thing I knew at that time was to just go pray.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what else to do, so I called my wife, dad, her mom, her sisters, her best friend, and it usually takes about 30 minutes to get from where I live at to Hollywood Hospital if you take 75 or the turnpike to get there. So it was a security officer. He said, "Man, if I were you, brother, I'd go pray." And I looked at him. I said, "Man, I already did that." And he said, "No, you need to go pray."
Mm-hmm.
So I started crying, and I walked around the waiting room, and I found the Bible. I grabbed it. At that instant, I was about to open that Bible and flip to a script and read it. And something said, "No, you need all those scripts in that Bible."
Take your time.
This is a safe space.
Like, take Hope you're strong, bro.
Thanks.
But
So, so the hospital turned you away
yeah,
when you went when she ruptured her when her water broke.
yeah,
They did not give you care in Florida.
no.
of course
They
not.
did not. They did not check her. They did not do an ultrasound. They just sent you away,
They
and
just
then
only
she
thing they
went
did
to
was check her vitals. They just
right.
checked the vitals, you know.
hmm And from an ultrasound perspective, from what I do, they should have done an ultrasound to see um, how the baby was presenting. If the baby had enough fluid around, was it a total rupture? Should have started an IV, given her fluids, all of the
Well,
things.
they did an ultrasound, and
hmm
they were saying that she was losing the amniotic fluid.
hmm
And at that time, before we went to the Hollywood Hospital, she was trying to drink a lot of water to build it back up.
They should
You
have
know,
started
that's
an
what.
IV.
Yeah, she was trying
But
to
yeah.
build it up. But
hmm
back to the Bible part, I cried and stuff, and I just prayed. And that whole time I was praying, after I got done praying, my mother-in-law was standing behind me, the nurses were standing behind me, and the doctors came out, and they was like, "We don't know what you said or what was going on, but your wife gonna be all right," you
hmm
know.
Yeah. I want to
And
kind of just shift, if I can. Hope, uh, I want to know how has it really been for you since the passing of your wife? The days, the nights, the longing, the just mentally, emotionally. How has it really been for you? Because not, I can't say from your perspective, but I know the journey that it's been for me, for my daughter. What happens when you're praying, 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 and for you, Derek, your prayer was answered. In my case, I had to say, God, whatever your will is, let it be done. And I'll still tell you thank you. Hope, how has that been for you?
Emotionally, dealing with
Yeah.
the loss of Portia. I mean, even like today, it kind of feels like it's unreal, you know.
Yeah.
hmm
I sometimes I go, or not go, but I think about like, man, she's really not here. Like Derek
Yeah.
said, there's times where it just hits you hard, like,
Yeah.
man, my wife's not here. Or there'll be times where I'm, something happened that's good, or something special happened to me. I got promotion and stuff, and I would catch
hmm
myself pulling out my phone and calling Portia, and then
hmm
to
Yeah.
see that she's not here no more. It was
hmm
tough, just to handle the whole load, and
Yeah.
it was like after Portia left, I mean after Portia passed away, it's like you have to fight to be present. It's a
Right.
constant
Yeah.
battle because you can see depression, right? It's just like a slippery
hmm
slope. If you think negative, you're in it. If you take a wrong step, you're in it. And for me, it was
Yeah.
like Portia loved her boys. She was a boy mom,
hmm
and it was like I have to be present for them because they already lost their
hmm
mom, and moms are, I think about my mom, and moms are special, especially at that age.
Yeah.
hmm
So it was a constant fight every single day to get up and just be present. It was a constant fight to like
Yes.
put my emotions down, to you know start the kids' day right, show them, just it just revolves around being present. And I think that was the hardest part for me was being present. Not blaming myself. I had to give myself a lot of grace because I hated myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really hated him. I was
Mm.
like, why is it happening to me? I mean, like, we just got back from a family vacation, and then we get back from San Antonio, no, not San Antonio, Austin, and you're telling me she goes into the hospital healthy, and she
hmm
leaves. She,
Yeah.
she's not here no more. And that was like the hardest thing to
hmm
comprehend. Like, what happened? And of course, I go through, like recently, the medical board did an investigation on the doctor, and of course,
hmm
it's public records, and of course, they saw that he did not provide the care, he didn't do what he's supposed to do. But then you look at his punishment, and
mm
it's just like, oh, we're just going to give him additional
It doesn't
training.
fit. It doesn't fit
Yeah.
it.
It.
Right.
It
hmm
does not fit.
And
It doesn't fit.
I saw that yesterday. I didn't know they did an investigation. And I swear, like, I was reliving everything. I was just like,
Over
wow.
again.
Like, so y'all telling me y'all saw the wrongdoing and still nothing? And y'all just tell
And
the
tried.
doctor that he just need extra training? And man,
How
that was
many?
the,
How many weeks was? Oh,
she was 11 weeks. You said my wife,
mm,
Portia, she was 11 weeks.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So, even till now, it's been a constant battle. Um, but like I said, I know Portia's with me. My strength that I show every day is her, because for me, for you to gotta get out of bed, going through this, it's I'm like, how is this possible? Some days I would just ask
Mm-hmm.
myself, how did I complete the day? I don't know, because I know I'm hurt, I know I'm in
Mm-hmm.
pain, but
Yeah.
then I still was able to get
Yeah.
my kids to school. I still was able to do this and this, go to
Mm-hmm.
work, all that stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I know it's Portia there with me, providing the motivation I need to get up, providing the motivation I need to go get
Mm-hmm.
help. I've been in therapy. I got
Right.
my boys in therapy as well too. Um,
I'm so glad to hear. Yeah.
right. So
Good.
it's been a constant battle, but like I said, I'm a fighter. We're here because we want to fight,
Yeah.
and
Yes, absolutely.
right, and so like right now, I'm ready to fight. I have my resources in place to help me with my healing process, my healing journey.
Yes.
So right now, man, I got my boots laced up and I'm ready to go. Because what happened to Portia should
Amen.
never happen. What happened to Derek
Should never.
should never
Should never.
happen. Right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I understand we was in a third world country, yeah, but in America with all, I mean, we just
Exactly.
sent a spaceship to the moon, you know, and you telling me
Right.
that you couldn't, right? You could not perform a DNC surgery where they do it in third world countries,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
And so, of course, when I think about it, it frustrates the hell out of me, because
Yes.
Amen.
it's one of those feelings where she should still be here, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, with you being in Texas and Texas being a total ban state, do you find it difficult for you to be in that state and tell your story, or do you feel like you have to force folks to listen and to be present and know that change needs to be made, and there doesn't need to be another Portia, there doesn't need to be another grieving father or a grieving son or grieving children for the loss of their mother?
So my dad was one time difficult to even tell my story because I really thought nobody wanted to listen. I just felt like
Mm.
what happened to Portia was going to get swept under the rug and nothing was going to happen.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but after I did my first interview, I saw that there's people out there that want to hear what's happening. There's people that want
Absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
understand what happened. I mean, um, there's guys out there that also wants to, see what's happening. I've got
Yes.
messages from like guys who are like, oh, I'm about to have my baby. What should I look for? Or what should I do?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
um,
It's good.
it seems like, I try to say, just because I'm in Texas, it doesn't mean there's people that don't agree with what's going on. There's a lot of folks that hate this law, that don't want this law to be here
They do.
because, right,
Mhm.
and for me, the laws center around like people's belief instead of like
Mm-hmm.
what's
Humanity.
actually happening,
Oh my
right?
God.
And
Right,
like I
but the
said,
reason why I say Texas is because Texas will prosecute anybody that helps someone get an abortion. If they find out that you travel to a different state, they're trying to prosecute you. The physicians, they were trying to put them in jail. Texas is just stupid.
and that's why
I
it's
can't
like,
stand Texas. Like,
and it's like,
I have family that lives in Texas who I was worried
right?
about to have a baby. So
hmm
yeah,
And it's like, what agenda do you guys have? Now you come
exactly.
That's my
down,
whole
and
point.
right,
How did we get here? That's
right.
my
And
point.
Aaron, you could
hmm
probably speak on that also about the laws in Texas
But
and what you've seen.
before Aaron addresses that, I just want to say to Hope, as far as you didn't think anyone would want to hear the story and you didn't know that there were places that were being heard, just understand that there are people who don't want to hear the story and they want to prevent the stories from being told. But that is why this platform exists and other platforms like us, so that we can have people on here to share their story and so we can get it out. And it's so important to make sure that you continue talking
Yes,
and
please.
just making sure that you're on the right platform and just not speaking on any platforms, because you never know what the agenda is for
hmm
those platforms that you are speaking on.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
thank you for trusting us and sharing your story with
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm happy to talk about how we got here. Before I do, though,
Please.
listening to Hope made me think about when I first met Derek. Because Hope, I think you were saying what happened to Portia. Was it June 12th, 2023? Did I have
Yeah,
that right?
yeah, you got that.
You know, I met Derek. I met Derek 2 weeks after that. It was June 24th of 2023, and I remember meeting up for coffee with Derek afterwards, and he was talking about, at that point it was a 6 month in the rearview mirror experience, and he said the same thing to me that you just said, which is, will anyone actually want to hear my story? And it's interesting because in that moment, there we were in South Florida. And I mentioned I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I've lived in Florida for the last 13 years. And I remember saying to Derek, there are going to be more men like you. And it's a question of whether it's thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. And it's just quite a thing to think about. In that exact moment, you were there in Texas feeling that same way. And how many other hundreds throughout the country
Exactly.
still think no one wants to listen to them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have to continue these conversations.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as far as how we got here,
Yes,
if you
please.
want to go in that direction, I'm a
Yes.
former high school history teacher as well as Men for Choice, so this is my lane. You know, in 1973, the Supreme Court ruled in Roe v. Wade, and it was a 7-2 decision. And think about that, in 1973, 7-2. Right? And keep in mind, it was all men on the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
If there were more women in there, it would have been even stronger than 7-2, right? And the fact that a court went 7-2 in support of Roe v. Wade shows how mainstream abortion rights had become at that time in 1973. Right? And to put some context here that I think is really important, Billy Graham, and for anyone listening who might not be familiar with that name, he was the most prominent evangelical leader in the country for several generations. He advised every president from Harry Truman until Barack Obama, and was a renowned, massive national spiritual and evangelical leader. And when Roe v. Wade was decided in 1973, he was asked, "What is your opinion on the Roe v. Wade decision?" And by the way, this is important. They didn't ask, "Are you pro-life or pro-choice?" because the term pro-life hadn't been created yet. They asked, "Are you pro-choice or anti-abortion?" That's an important point as to how we got here. And his response, the most prominent evangelical leader in the country, and a deeply conservative man in many ways, he said, "Well, I would consider myself pro-choice, I guess. I don't see what Christianity has to do with abortion."
Exactly.
And so that is where the country was in 1973. Fast forward, in 1978, there were some political strategists who had realized, as the country was coming out of the 1960s into the 1970s, needed issues that you could win elections on. And some political strategists came up with a theory that even though the majority of Americans then and now believe in abortion rights, that a small minority were so opposed to abortion rights that that could be their number one issue. And so you could find the 24% of Americans who this would determine their vote if a candidate was sufficiently anti-abortion. And in 1978, there were several political races where candidates ran on anti-abortion platforms and successfully turned out a bunch of voters who wouldn't have otherwise voted. In 1980, Ronald Reagan took that strategy national, and he won a big election. And so by the 1980s, the links we now have and take for granted, that if you're a good Christian, you must be against abortion, that to be moral means to be against abortion, ideas that we've all heard, even accepting as fact the term pro-life, which was becoming popularized in that time, that was all deliberately created throughout the late 1970s and into the 1980s. And Roe v. Wade, which we all know as something that lasted 50 years, was never guaranteed to last 50 years. There was a Supreme Court decision in the early 1990s called Casey versus Planned Parenthood, and Bob Casey was the governor of Pennsylvania. And that decision ended up going 5-4 to uphold Roe v. Wade, but then put some different limitations on abortion, and it introduced the idea of at what point the state could regulate pregnancy, and it made it a little more difficult. But the key thing is, if one vote on the Supreme Court had switched in, I believe that was in 1993. Did I have that right, Suki? Was it 93?
It was.
If one vote had switched the other way, Roe could have been knocked out in 1993. So the interest was always there. By the time you get to the 2000s, there was more of a sense that, and it kind of depended who was the president and who they'd appoint to the Supreme Court, that there wasn't going to be any immediate path to overturning Roe v. Wade. And when Barack Obama got elected president in 2008, people realized he wasn't going to appoint people to the Supreme Court who were going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And so starting in 2010, and this is actually the context that Men for Choice would be created out of a few years later, starting in 2010, there were an unprecedented number of attacks on abortion rights and access at the state level. Because the anti-abortion movement realized you were never going, you weren't in the immediate future going to be able to overturn Roe v. Wade, and so they could chisel away. They could make it harder for doctors. They could put things like targeted restrictions on abortion providers, trap laws that would shut down clinics arbitrarily. They could put wait periods. They could regulate in ways that would make it more burdensome. Even if you legally had the right to an abortion, you could take away access. You could shut down clinics. You could make it harder. You could do all of those things. And then when Donald Trump got elected president in 2016. That is where the overturning of Roe v. Wade went from something that might happen to, in my view, something that was going to happen. Because it had almost happened in 1993. If the 2008 election had gone differently, it might have happened in 2012, right? And so if you look at the history of abortion attacks, they traditionally happened at the state level. The anti-abortion movement got creative. They doubled down over time. And I think there was a combination of factors. One of the biggest problems being that pro-choice men, which is nearly half the people in the country, over the last 50 years took for granted that this was just something that was there, and so don't think about the issue, don't speak about the issue, have never given any thought to it. And the anti-choice women and men, though a minority, have been working together to bring us to the point where Roe v. Wade could get overturned. And so I think they have 50 years of campus organizing. If we lost at this level, let's go to this level. Relentless focus from a small minority that's really motivated. And I think on our side, it's more made up of a lot more people who, like you, Mrs. Williams, like you, Hope, like you, Derek. Most people are now on the receiving end of how is it that the weight of government history policy came down on my wife, on my daughter.
And my sister.
How is this possible in this country? And your sister, Taria.
And it seems like it's no remorse because at the end of the day, I have the opportunity to be in the state capitol. And I'm looking lawmakers in the eyes, asking them, how are we going to fix this? Because I had no investment in politics. I think everybody overlapping, politics should never be in church. If you really want to get technical, politics should never be, our health should never be in the government's hand. That's a relationship between the doctor and the patient. So we shouldn't even be talking about HIPAA. We shouldn't even be talking about OSHA. We shouldn't even be talking about anything if we are here. Because at the end of the day, government being Christianity. Because nobody is looking at the fact that anti-abortionists, the extreme abortionists, if you go blow up a building where people are in there doing whatever they do you not think God is going to give you a pass? You're not doing God's work. You're just as much as bound as the person doing whatever they do. So make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. You should. Go ahead, Derek. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm sorry for cutting you off. Especially when we so-called pledge allegiance under God.
Under God, everything, one nation, under God. It's the division with racism. It's the division because at the end of the day, one nation means one people.
Exactly.
God sees all of us the same.
It didn't say anything about the government.
I can go there with the Bible.
Yeah.
So God sees all of us the same. If I cut you, Aaron, and you cut me, we're both going to bleed red.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
So make it make sense to me. Nobody can telling me, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my condolences. That's not going to bring Portia back. Right. That's not going to bring Amber back. That's not going to bring Candace back. We gotta get out. Make it make sense.
Right. It doesn't. And that's why I said what I said in terms of this has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with control. Once they started to bring Christianity and religion into everything, even down to the education system. I'm an educator also. When they start to strip away people's right to make their choices, whether you want to believe or not believe, and try to condemn you because
they can
you have the next, this is where we are. And it has nothing to do with anything but power and control.
And it definitely doesn't have anything to do with God, because it does not have anything to do with God. It's about selfish, evil, power, and control. This dictatorship, this has absolutely nothing to do with the God that I serve. It has nothing to do with God.
That's right.
So I have a question. I met Derek. I don't even remember what year did I meet you and Anya. We were talking or doing something on some platform.
We was in Washington D.C. with the group
Free and Just.
Yep.
Free and Just.
Yep.
And I met you guys and heard your story and knew I needed to meet Anya, and we kind of clicked. And I have seen the work that you have done. What year was that? 2023, 24, somewhere around in. I want to say it was 23.
Yeah.
So whenever I see you from a distance and up close and see the work that you're doing and see how you said you didn't speak in the beginning, and to see where you are now and how much you've come out and how passionate you are about telling your story and getting men involved to speak and tell their story, especially men of color. I hope to see you tell your story. Where are we? New Orleans. I get so confused. We be all over the place. But in New Orleans, and to see your story. But I heard your wife's story when it first came out, and I was pissed. I'm not going to even lie. From being an ultrasound perspective, to know something that can save somebody's life from just a DNC, cut and dry in 15 minutes. You get some antibiotics, you go home, you live your life, you're there with your children. To be in a space with, to hear Shanette's story and Taria, Candace's story in D.C. during the policy steering committee here in D.C. when I was there, talking about Project 2025, and me advocating and me telling them about Candy and Amber could have been my patient. It's like the writing was on the wall. We saw everything. We do everything. But to see Black men telling their story and advocating you for your wife that's not here. But even what you said something earlier that resonated with me. People coming to you to say, hey, man, how can my wife is pregnant or my partner is pregnant? What can I do? What are all of these things? That takes a strong person. And I applaud you and I commend you for being able to do that. Because I'm sure it's like, sometimes ripping a Band-Aid off. I have to relive this situation or tell this story, but it's doing something for the good to help other people. And like what Aaron said, with the law, them talking about it, doing the hokey pokey, especially with me being in reproductive health for as long as I have, it was always, oh, it's about to overturn. No, it's not. Oh, it's about to overturn. Oh, okay. Trump just put some Supreme Court justices in place, and when he put those people in place, I knew it was just a matter of time then, because he was stacking the deck against us. But we collectively, as a community, have to say, we're not going to take this. And especially with super banned states like Texas, and I'll tell you time and time again, I hate Texas. I hate Texas because I see so many patients, so many women that come from Texas seeking care when they should be able to. The Southeast is like a desert for abortion access now. We have to send them all over everywhere to be able to get the care that they need. And it shouldn't have to be that way.
So here's my thing. Again, like you said, when Trump got in office and he put those Supreme Court judges in office, you knew.
Oh, yeah.
How many other doctors?
When you saw Project 2025, you knew. It was plain and simple.
Here's my thing. I have to come to terms with the fact that who knew before? And just like everybody's doing the protesting for no kings and all of this, why didn't we have people out there fighting against this?
Well, they were there. We were there. I have done many a protest and been out there. The pink lady hats, the pussycat hats that we were out there marching with, you know what I'm saying? All of the things we knew about 40 Days for Life, how it would make our lives a living hell for a solid month. We did all of the things, but again, we became complacent to it because it was a pendulum of yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I know I can speak for Georgia when you went from 26 weeks to 24 weeks to 22 weeks, we was like, okay, we can hold it 22 weeks because from a sonographer's perspective, I know I could do an ultrasound. Everything is fully developed at 20 weeks, and that gives a woman time enough to see if it's something, an anomaly where they want to terminate and be able to do it still in Georgia. If not, I knew I could send them to Florida, which was the next state that went to 24 weeks. When everything went into place that stripped me of everything in the Southeast, I was like, what the hell am I going to do now? Right. And it's the same thing now, but we need to have more men like we have on here to stand behind us women to say, hey, we support you. We see you. We see what you're going through. We should not have another woman die because of something as simple as a DNC.
And
Well, my
that
thing-
is, I'm sorry, Dave, just 1 second.
Derek.
As we're talking
You keep
about-
calling him Dave. That's Derek.
I'm sorry, Derek. My apologies. I want to say, how did we get here? We are headed in even further demise if we don't do something, because we have this platform. It's going, like I said, in New Orleans. It's not just about women's reproductive rights. It's about women's rights altogether, because Trump just passed another law, or I'm not sure if it has completely gone into effect, but if you are a married woman, you can't vote. You have to vote.
Not unless your birth certificate match.
Yes.
Or your passport.
This is how we're getting here. And so this is something that as men, you all need to be aware of, and so you can help fight for our rights, because we are, as women, are losing those rights, and it's not done in the dark. Like, these are things that were said that was going to happen anyway. And so this conversation,
Project 2025?
Project
Yeah.
2025, this
Taking us back to slavery.
more than just reproductive rights. It's human rights, especially human rights for women, because we're the ones who are losing at an astronomical pace.
Exactly.
When it comes to our ability and rights to make decisions. I'm sorry.
Project 2025 it seems like it's stripping the rights of women and taking us back, because we have these old ass white men that's in office. They have those old ass mentalities that's taking us back to them old ass ways. That's what the problem is.
You
That's
said,
true.
you know, I probably would have been
I
alone.
don't see anything. I don't see no progress moving forward. They got these old slave mentalities. Like you were saying earlier, you from, you know, your parents, you from Alabama.
Yes.
My grandparents grew up in Dothan in
Oh, that's
Alabama.
right next to me, in Mobile,
Yeah.
Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah, they grew up there. So I know the mentality of those slave owners.
Yes.
So can I
And
ask
that's
you
what
this
we're going
question
through right now.
Hope was
For Hope
actually
and
about to-
Derek. Hope and
Hope
Derek.
was about to say something. So
Oh, go ahead, Hope. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that's why we just got to fight and just to recreate our community and just fight back, because, of course, I've seen that as a factor as well too. You know, before the abortion ban came, I knew that black women had a higher mortality rate when giving birth.
Exactly.
It was in the back of my head, but I didn't know the severity of it. You know,
Right.
Until it happens, then you open your eyes, it's like, holy crap, what's going on? And then now you start seeing everything is getting scaled back, and we're just going backwards. We think we're making progress, but we're going backwards. And that's why, I'm happy that we have this platform to get together and come up with strategies to fight, because I think right now we got to fight. Because right now all the policies, Project 2025, all the policies are going to be doing more damage. And destroying a lot of families. So,
And they're on a push to make it get as much done as possible, because they know that
Time is of the essence.
And then here's
Yep.
the thing.
As much done
Here's
while
the
he's
thing that we have to pay attention to. They are putting these laws in sectors that don't even have anything to do with. Say for instance, we found this out, Suki. How long ago was it? Maybe like 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago. We found out that they are putting reproductive rights into. Was it biology? It was something that
No,
was,
it was science and something. The way that they're
yeah,
getting these laws to pass
plugging
is
it in to
you
go
wouldn't even
laws.
think that
You
that
wouldn't even
has
think,
anything
yes.
to do, like HB 481 here in Georgia went under the science and something, and I was like, how did it even
How
get? Because
how
nobody would think to look there. That's
and
how
these
it got
ghost
passed.
laws, they're putting things under
They're hiding
ghost
it in
laws, and then nobody is really paying attention. So they're sneakingly getting these bills passed, these laws passed, but because they're putting them in ghost laws, and that is,
Yeah.
Same
Well,
thing,
my
same thing
thing
as
is,
trap laws.
yeah.
Yeah.
my thing is, I have two things to say. The first one is about the fact that they're taking the women can't vote. You got to be up on the one. Number one is a lot of black men, we get arrested. Some of us go, felons, and we get our rights taken away. So my rights getting taken away, and we
Takes
under
your
one.
rights,
That
huh?
means she can't
Yes,
vote.
exactly.
So that means more votes for them.
Exactly.
And number two, the thing with the what you were just saying, Suki, about those, Jeanette, about the ghost laws, it's because people don't read. They don't like
People
to read.
don't
They don't
read.
want to tap in,
Well,
and
they
they pass the
also
laws because they know
they
we don't read.
they also do it in the middle of the night. Like
In the
they
middle
are
of,
so
yeah.
sneaky.
Yeah.
They will, Aaron, am I lying? They will hold it
Yeah, you're
in
telling the
there
truth.
midnight, and
Yep.
then
Yeah.
I'll get a text message and be like, "This
Yeah.
just passed," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Y'all
they're
really
there,
got this?"
they're there overnight.
And that's so interesting. Mrs. Williams, you were talking about the ghost laws. Suki and Derek, you were just voicing it. Is that for 50 years, the clearly stated goal of the anti-abortion movement was to ban and criminalize abortion
Yes.
and to put doctors, providers, and women who get abortions in jail. That was
Yes.
the clearly stated goal
Period.
for 50 years.
Now, you
And then
tell
once,
me,
yeah,
how
and
many
then
of
once,
those- Ugh.
but then here's the crazy part. Once Roe v. Wade gets overturned, and now the protections are gone, and now they can actually move to that goal, all of a sudden they get real bashful. And they're like, no, 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 no. The goal was never, we were not talking about criminalizing abortion. And
Yep.
then you get Portia, and you get Amber, and you get Candace, and you get what happened to Anya, and all of these other situations. And all of these people, in many cases, who for decades have been working for this moment, and now are able to enact this moment, want to pretend like the consequences of the decisions they
Exactly.
make and how much farther they want to take it are somehow beyond their control.
And guess
we
what,
see it with the
Eric?
anti-abortion people all the time. They're like the dog that caught the car, and now they want to pretend they were never chasing the car. No, no, no.
Yep.
We know what they're about. This group
I
particularly
actually
knows
asked one
that.
of them. I asked one of them 2 Fridays ago, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And I said, how do we fix it? This was a Republican that
Signed it into things.
Signed
But if
it
you talk
in-
about it
in-
now, Aaron,
Like to throw
look
stones
what's
and hide
happened in
behind.
South Georgia,
Yeah.
where the girl went
Yeah.
in and the security officer told the nurse that he overheard that she took some medical abortion pills, and so then they called the police in, and
Where's
so
the-
now everybody is like, "Oh, you want to charge her with murder?" But nobody wants to touch it, so the judge let her bond out for $1 because he's like, "This because you
Doesn't make
violated
sense.
HIPAA,
Right.
you violated exactly."
That's
But you
the thing.
have no proof that she took this medical abortion pill. All
Yeah.
you said was she had OxyContin in her system. She could have had some leftover pain medicine from when she went to the dentist. Is that
And
against
that's
the law?
defamation. That's
Is that
defamation of
against the law?
character. 'Cause What was it?
Yeah.
What if it wasn't true? That's
But
defamation of her character.
if we do not stand up and stand in solidarity with her, she was a black woman, and any woman, especially like
Yeah.
for example, Anya, she miscarried at the hairdresser. They would be able to criminalize her if this case sticks. It will be
Yeah.
any black woman that has a spontaneous abortion, was what we call it, or it's a miscarriage, but we call it
Yeah.
spontaneous abortion. They will be able to prosecute her for murder if we don't stand in solidarity with her in South Georgia, which I'm hoping
Yeah.
they throw it out. But if we don't, then it's going to happen, and it's going to happen
Yeah.
to our people, not in,
Yeah.
in rural communities that already don't have enough hospitals, that don't have enough providers. You have providers that don't even want to practice OB anymore because they can't fully get trained to do what they need to do. And that
Yeah.
brings me all to say is how Hope and Derek, as black men, can you get more black men to be able to come and be allies with us women? Like, what conversations do you have? Do you go in the barbershop?
With-
But the
Just men in
barbershop, but I'm
general,
saying in
not-
general.
men in
Because
general, yeah.
but I'm saying in general, but more black men. I see more white men standing in solidarity
Exactly.
with some than I do
Exactly.
my old people.
I
I
said the
don't.
same thing the other day.
I don't.
I see
And
more,
I'm just saying,
I
how
see
do
more
you do
white
that?
men, I see more gay men being involved in this situation right now,
how do
and it's
we
happening
fix
to our
it?
black women, and they're not stepping in.
how do
So how do
we?
you do
Maybe
that?
by being vocal and creating this.
Now, I want to hear from Derek.
I want to hear from Hope and Derek.
Yeah, how do we
I
fix
think-
it?
I think
think-
what we need to do is
Go ahead, Derek.
continue to put this on podcast.
Mhm.
Black women use our voices too. This is good that we're talking about this in the group. We got Aaron in this group as well. You know, the gay man, they can hear it too.
Eric's phone went
He'll
dead.
come back.
Can we
Go
get
ahead,
the
Hope.
people, put this on
Well, I
podcast?
think
You
for
know,
me,
voice our
utilizing social media is
opinions
our
about it. Because
biggest
people gonna
our
listen.
biggest strength. You know,
It's not just
for
gonna
me,
go
what
up
I've been
their
doing, I've
ears,
been hitting up every black influencer I can see and telling the story.
Okay.
Like, let me use your platform to push the story out. Let me use your platform. So that's one thing I've been doing to try to reach more people, reach more black folks as well.
Right.
I've taken it upon myself to talk to anyone, you know.
Right.
I'm sorry,
Um,
Elf.
I seen, just random black couple that's pregnant and say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And let me tell you what's going on in the state of Texas, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really feel like social media is our biggest strength that we can utilize to get our voices out so we can reach more people, you know.
Okay.
So that's my opinion. And of course, the podcast, like what Abortion America did. But, of course, we need to start inviting the guys and bringing the guys there. You know, even though
Exactly.
even though they haven't been through what me or what Derek has been through, we still need to bring them, especially like the
Exactly.
leaders in their communities and stuff. We need to bring, right, we gotta bring the pastors in. We just gotta start bringing more folks in so they can see.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. We need to do the same thing as what we did in New Orleans for the fellas. Just have me, Hope, Aaron Bosloon, whoever other guys they want to get involved,
Yes.
and just have a big convention. Have the women come in as well, and we all just get up there and talk about it.
We just gonna be silent and let y'all handle it. We're gonna just let y'all talk. We just gonna let y'all talk. Because
Absolutely.
you do a good job too. You would be surprised at how many women want to hear from men on this perspective. Like,
That's right.
it makes me feel good to say that I have some allies. Like, whenever I see Men for Choice, I be just like, ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm
then
saying?
Amber
Because I
Brother
know
is-
you do what you say you're gonna do, and you're gonna advocate for us.
Yeah.
I know
Why
Amber's
could-
brother's probably going to have, he's probably going to be salty. But I did not know, even for Andre, that he was suicidal. I had no clue that it affected
Andre.
him. That was Amber's father. I had no clue that it affected him the way it did, and going down that tunnel. And when he expressed the fact that he was actually suicidal.
Same thing with Alex, my
Yeah.
brother-in-law.
So I'm gonna, we're gonna have to do a part 2. I know this for a fact. We've not,
Yeah.
but before we do, I want to give Aaron space at this point.
Yeah, I wanted to close with a thought that I think ties a lot of these things together, which is it's really easy, especially when it comes to men in this issue, and you see such an organized, motivated opposition. It's really easy to forget that the overwhelming majority of Americans support abortion rights. Only 19% of Americans believe abortion should be totally illegal without exceptions for rape, incest, life of the mother. And even a lot of people who call themselves pro-life, if you ask them, but should the government deny care if a woman's having a miscarriage, they'll go, of course not. So they're actually pro-choice, they just don't like the label, right? But the problem is, especially as it relates to men on this issue, one of the reasons that the work we do in building a base of young men through our fellowship, that includes a whole range of guys, all different types of guys, who then, organize peer-to-peer conversations in person and also speak out online, to Hope's point. I think both of those are key. It's like the ground game and the air game all at once. We got to reach people in all these different ways. But the problem is, even though 81% of Americans are pro-choice, very few think of this as their issue, and almost no guys do. Right? Like, think about
hit the
Derek.
nail on the head.
Derek in early December of 2022 was pro-choice, didn't think about it because it hadn't happened to his wife yet. Hope, in early June of 2023. Me, pre-2019. And everyone comes up with some reason about, well, it's not my thing, or that's women, or I'm this, or I'm that, but I'm gay, but I'm whatever. And all of those have in common the effect of staying on the sidelines, and like people like you, Suki, and your work in health, let alone people who have experienced these things firsthand, are then going, like, where are the allies? And so I think the good news here is there's a whole lot we can do, and it involves the hard work of conversation by conversation by conversation. Online can make that reach much bigger, and it's really easy in a moment like this to feel like the opposition is so big and so powerful because they've had some big wins. But there are so many more of us than there are of them, even if it doesn't always feel that way. And I think history is on our side if we do the work to organize ourselves.
Yes.
Right. And y'all have to excuse me if I get overly passionate, but I'm just so in this because the worst thing that could have ever happened to me happened. A mother never expects to bury a child. And I had, when it happened, just like you, Hope, but it was my child. I had so many regrets. What did I miss? I mean, it was a journey. And then when the journalist just showed up at my house, August the 23rd, 2023, when she haphazardly showed up on my doorstep, and I was like, who are you? What do you want? Amber is off limits.
Right.
Nobody talks to me about Amber. And she was so persistent, she would not stop. And to this day, before I knew what happened, I gave her the business. No, I'm talking about in Jeanette fashion. That ain't pretty. Because, you know, it was like, this is my private pain. Why are you coming? You know, I just couldn't put two and two together. And then in 24, when we really found out, that grief and that trauma and that pain turned into advocacy. And it's like, the only thing I see is, if this could happen to me, I don't want it to happen to other people. And that's all I see. Cancel out everything else. It's not even about you, Hope, you, Derek, you, Aaron. It's not about us. It's about what we do, Suki, Taria. It's about what we do to help others.
Yeah.
Yes.
What we
To
do to
change
help
these
others,
laws.
to
That's
change
what we're
these
supposed to
laws.
do.
And that's what it's all about. Now, we had to go through this to be here and to be who we are and to continue to fight to get these laws changed and to get this evil out, to get this division out. Because again, we do everything under God. And that's so, what we see today, it is so not God
It's not.
at all. I don't care how you try to twist it, how you try to turn it, how you try to tweak it. This is not the God that I serve. It is
And
not.
but the crazy part about this whole thing is, you know, each and every one of us here has a tie differently into this story,
Yeah.
different ways. And I, even when you say that this is not under God, this is already written in the Bible how this kingdom is going to fall.
Yeah.
But unless we do something to try to make it better, it's going to continue to keep breaking the way it is, and it's going to fall.
That's why we're here.
And I
That's
do
why
want to
we're
say this before we end. All white people are not racist.
They're not.
No.
I found some that will go to bat for you before
Yeah.
some of us will. So
Yep.
I just want to, you know, because again, for me, when you say one nation, what are we missing? That's one people.
Yeah.
One
It
nation
doesn't
is
matter what color you are.
It does not
Yeah.
matter the color. If we want to be technical about God, God does not see color.
Sure
He
don't.
does not.
It's about one nation under God. And what we're seeing today in what's going on, this is no identity of God at
No.
all, whatsoever. It's not God. And on that note, I want to thank you all so much. And I know we got to have a part 2 because we didn't get
Yes.
near
Yeah.
the
Questions, Devin?
scratch the surface, but this is what's needed. This is
Yes.
exactly what's needed. And so it was so impactful. This was very impactful. And I just want to thank my special guest, our special guests, Derek, Hope, and Aaron. And you have to promise us that we can continue this and continue this fight together. And before, I want to give my co-host y'all the opportunity to say something. Don't have to be much, but something.
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us today. Your presence on this platform is very much welcome and needed. And the world just needs to see that this fight that we're on, this movement that we're on, it's not just about women's rights. It's about humanity. It's about the children that are left behind. It's about the husbands that are left behind. And those who want to join in this fight, even if you didn't lose your wife or your mother or your child or what have you, this all has an impact on us. And there's so much more that we have to get into because for all of us who have lost either a sister, a daughter, or a wife, there are children that are left behind that are still grieving.
Yes.
And we need to talk about how that impacts your dynamics of your household and, you know, what do we have to do to move forward and what we want to see and change and how we're going to mobilize and get this done. So that is what I have to offer. And again, thank you all for being here.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you guys for coming on. Derek, so much for coming on because I feel like I'm part of y'all family. Like when you told me that y'all were having the baby that you have now, and for me to get to see the baby in New Orleans, I was so excited and so happy for y'all because I know y'all's journey. So thank you for sharing your story. But to our listeners that want to stay engaged with you all, if you want to share how they could be a part of your community, and if they want to be a part of Men for Choice, would you let them know or give us a way that we can let them know once it goes live? We really want folks to connect with you all if you want to be able to build correlation and allies with different people all around the world, because we can't do this as one person. We have to do this collectively as a team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can reach out to me on Instagram, mr at sign mr.derickcook. That's Mr. Derek Cook on Instagram. Or they can reach out to with Aaron as well, you know, through Men for Choice on Instagram. We there. You know, I'm always willing to help somebody. You know, I rarely say no, but if I do say no on some things, it probably because I'm so tied up in other things or I just can't make it.
Yeah, for us it would be Men for Choice, four with a four, so Men number four choice on any of the platforms. You could also email us at info at menforchoice.org, and we'll get hold of you. And if you're interested in just learning more, and there's more at this link if you go there on YouTube, if you search Men for Choice again with a four, off the sidelines, you can find a 30-minute documentary about our first 10 years, and that also includes all the ways you can get involved and what we've learned it takes to
Yeah,
pro-choice
so
men off the
right now
sidelines
I'm
into
on
the fight.
Instagram.
And
That's
hope.
pretty much best way to reach me. If you want me to, tell my story or come, do some advocating and stuff. So my username is Brother of Hope, which is BROTHER Hope, and pretty much that's it. Yeah. But anyways, um, Aaron, we're connected. Derek, we're connected. So um, you can always reach out to them, Men for Choice as well, and I'm pretty sure they can connect with me if if they want to reach out and stuff. So.
And
Yeah.
last thing, Aaron, one more question. How many states are Men for Choice located in? And if they want to be a part of it in that state, is there like chapters or how does that work? Or is it one umbrella?
Yeah, no, we're active throughout the country. We're primarily active in 8 states, but
Okay.
the fellowship program you can participate from anywhere for 18 to 28-year-old men. So if you're curious at all, reach out and we'll get you in touch with the right person about how to get involved. And
Thank you
the
for
fellowship
sharing
is
that.
designed in a way that you can participate virtually from anywhere, so everyone has that easy first step to take to get
Yeah.
involved in the fight.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And thank you for sharing your contact information. And to our listening audiences, thank you for showing up, for listening, and for continuing to support this platform. If this episode meant something to you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, share, and help these conversations reach the people who need them the most. Thank you so much for tuning in
Thank
to
you.
We Talk About It.